Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castros.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and View.
And here are today's headlines.
Several groups are staging protests today demanding accountability for alleged irregularities in flood control projects.
Senate President Tito Soto has refused to sign the request to place a Diskaya couple under the Witness Protection Program.
House Speaker Martin Romualdez has no plans to resign and claims to still have strong support from fellow Solons amid rumors of a leadership shakeup.
The DOJ has begun issuing subpoenas to businessman Atong Ang, actress Gretchen Barreto, and others in the missing Sabongeros case.
First in the news, several groups are staging a protest to call for accountability amid controversies over the government's flood control projects. For the latest, let's bring in Mobile Journal Evan Tarinque, reporting live from the EDSA Shrine. Evan, what's the situation like?
Diego, as of this morning, makikita nyo sa likuran ko, naghahanda na yung iba't ibang mga grupo for the protest ngayong 9 a.m. No? Kasi bago magsimula yung kanilang protest, meron munang misa, no, na currently ongoing sa mga oras na ito. No? Ayon sa kanila, ang panawagan ng kanilang protesta ay yung misa ngayong umaga ay yung kanilang agarang pagkakaroon ng independent commission na magkasagawa ng investigasyon para nga dito nga sa mga irregularities na kakaugnay itong flood control project. Isa pa doon sa kanilang nabanggit is yung yung transparency and accountability ng mga representative at ng mga senador at ng mga nahalal na mga official, no? Tumatawag sila na ilabas yung mga salin ng mga ito, lalo na raw yung mga nasangkot nga dito sa flood control projects na ito, Diego.
Evan, anong oras ang inaasahan na peak ng crowd at saka sino-sino mga grupo ang invited?
Yes, Diego, 9 a.m. nagtipon-tipon na sila kanina, no? So currently ongoing yung mass sa loob ng shrine, no? So tuloy-tuloy yan, no? Ilan sa mga nakita natin na pumunta dito ay sa organization ng Tindig Pilipinas, nagkaisa sa Libor Coalition, Kalipunan ng Kilosang Masa at Siklab, no? And yung mga personalities naman na nakita natin dumating dito, si Kiko Aquino D, yung convener ng Tindig Pilipinas, Kayla Meneses na Akbayan Youth, at si Akbayan Representative Percy Cedenya, no? So sila currently yung mga nakita natin na nandito sa may EDSA. Diego?
Mga hanggang anong oras daw sila dyan? And are there going to be more rallies like this in the coming days?
Yes, Angela, before no nasabihan na tayo ng isang representative from Akbayan Youth, no, na they will stage ng iba't ibang pang rallies, no. Nagsimula nga ito doon sa compound ng mga Diskaya last week, no. So nagsimula yan, and based from them magkakaroon para sila ng iba't ibang mga protest na i-stage, no, sa iba't ibang mga parte ng lugar. And as of this moment, no, Angela, 9 a.m. talaga yung target time na magsisimula yung kanilang kilos protesta dito. Pero currently, ito, nakita natin, nag-assemble pa lang yung ilan. Pero aside from that, nakita rin naman natin yung mga ilang enforcers, no, yung mga police authorities na nandito na nagbabantay kung sakali man magkaroon ng unfortunate events. Angela.
Alright, unless you can show us around pa, 'di ba?
Sige.
Evan,
Okay,
oo, and then baka may makausap tayo dyan.
Okay, so ikot lang natin. So currently, ito yung situation dito na makikita natin. Ito yung mga drummers na nag-aayos. Makikita natin yung iba't ibang mga statements sa sahig, no? Panagutin ng mga sangkot sa korupsyon, pera ng bayan, ingatan. Ito yung mga iba't ibang mga statements ng mga grupo. Kaya no, yung mga kanilang mga leaders, kasi yung mga kanilang spokesperson ay nasa loob pa ng simbahan. So hindi pa ata tapos. Ito makikita natin yung iba't iba, may mga dala pang payong. Yung iba, no, pwede natin masilip kung ano yung nakasulat doon sa kanilang payong. Kuya, okay lang ba? Pakita lang natin kung ano yung nakasulat dyan sa payong na yan. Anong nakasulat dyan?
Punish all plunderers.
Punish all plunderers. Kuya, baka pwede kita ma-interview, mabilis lang.
Tatanong ko lang po.
Sige, tatanong pa raw nila. Alright. Sige, currently, ayan yung situation ngayon. Wala pa masyadong nangyayari. Pero eventually, a few minutes, siguro maya-maya, mag-start na yung kanilang program dito, Angela.
Evan, yung traffic situation, kamusta na? Yung magiging event ba, they'll just stick to the perimeter of the EDSA Shrine or may sasakupin silang daan? Usually kasi sa may White Plains yan, may sinasara yan eh.
Yes, Diego, as of this moment, makikita naman natin, pakita lang natin yung bandang EDSA. No, ito yung sa may EDSA, makikita natin, malinit at maluwag pa naman. Itong part na to, pero itong part na to, no, sa may papuntang I believe papunta itong Green Hills, medyo may kabigatan na dahil nga sa may stoplight at mabilis lang kasi yung stoplight dyan. Pero ang plan is hanggang dito lang sila sa pwestong ito, no, at hindi sila sasakop ng lanes
Major roads, oo.
at ng roads dahil yun nga yung kanilang gustong mangyari, no, maiwasan yung magbulong protest na nangyari katulad nga nang nangyari last week. Diego?
Evan, itong video, no, lastly, no, this is the video sa may actual church, sa may mall, di ba? Yung other side, kung saan yung pinaka-commemoration shrine, hindi nila sasakupin yon?
Yes, currently, ito talaga, ito kasi yung shrine, no, Diego. So, nasa taas, pababa lang. Itong part lang ito, yung may stage talaga.
Okay.
At dito nakaset up yung kanilang equipment. So, yung mics, yung drummers, at yung mga audio equipments. Pero may mga tent sila doon. Pero baka mamaya umalis din yan kasi syempre yung mga tao pupunta dito sa gitna, Diego.
Alright, maraming salamat, Mobile Journal. Ivan Tarinque reporting from EDSA Shrine. Senate President Tito Soto has refused to sign Senator Rodante Marcoleta's request to place Sara and Curly Discaya under the Witness Protection Program. Here's the report.
This was Senator Marcoleta's letter to the Department of Justice asking that spouses Pacifico Curly and Cesara Rowena Sara Discaya be admitted into the Witness Protection Program. Dated September 8, the letter bore Marcoleta's signature, but notably, there was no signature from Senate President Tito Soto. In an interview with 1PH's Sa Totoo Lang, Soto said they cannot qualify as state witnesses unless they return what they allegedly stole and provide complete testimony. He also noted that their statements in the Senate and the House don't match, raising doubts about their credibility.
Umamin ka, ginakaw mo, balik mo lahat ng ginakaw mo, at tapos yung testimony mo, kailangan kompleto. Hindi kalahati. Ano, yung mga binabanggit ni Discaya, saka yung mga sinabi niya rito sa hearing sa Senado, iba mga sinabi niya no sa House. Pagkatapos hindi kumpleto. No, ba't ko naman pipirmahan niya, i-recommend ako mag-state witness? Sige nga, explica nila sa akin. Ano mapapayag?
Before this, the Discaya's lawyer admitted they were hoping to secure inclusion in the DOJ's protection program, insisting their clients were not being selective in naming officials allegedly involved in kickbacks from flood control projects.
Pero ang sentro kasi ng pagdinig natin sa Senado, sa House of Representatives through the TRICOM, ay yung pong nangyaring flood control anomalies from July 2022 hanggang itong kasalukuyang panahon. Meron ding time ni Ma'am Gloria, time ni President Pinoy, time ni Pinoy, Duterte, mas talamak nga lang ngayon. Okay. Noon, nagsusumbong sila, nagpapadyaryo. Wala akong selective memory rito. Huwag ho nating ilihis, okay, yung laman ng affidavit.
The lawyer added that the couple had even reported their concerns to DPWH Secretary Bonon before, but were ignored. Still, the Discayas claim to have evidence, ledgers, phone numbers, and text messages of those allegedly demanding SOPs or kickbacks.
Sabi sa akin ni Sir, enough is enough. Sobra ng pagyuyurak sa pangalan namin, sa pamilya namin. Damay-damay na kung sino yung dapat madamay. Yung ledger na sinasabi ni Sir Curly, hinihingi na yung mga, alam mo yun, porsyento. So, binibigay na lang kasi hinihingi. So, nililista lang nila yon. For example, ganitong araw, hindi ho niya isasakripisyo yung buhay niya, yung pangalan niya, kung hindi niya kayang panindigan.
Earlier, Congressman Terry Ridon said the Discayas cannot qualify as state witnesses because they are not the list guilty. The DOJ has also clarified that they can only be considered if they return the money they illegally obtained. Meanwhile, Senate President Soto also addressed questions over the custody of Bryce Hernandez, a detained witness. He said he allowed Hernandez to be brought to Pasay City Jail following the House of Representatives' request, noting that compromise is sometimes necessary in interchamber relations.
Kung hindi ko pinagbigyan yung request ng House of Representatives, kailangan namin si Mendoza. Sa kanila na, nakakontempt naman sa kanila. Sa tingin mo, bibigay sa amin?
Oo, kaya dapat
Sa tingin mo, pagka kami nag-request, hindi kami pagbibigyan ngayon dahil hindi ko sila pinagbigyan. Alam mo yun, alam mo, hindi lang ang politika, ang leadership, siyempre meron kang tinatawag na compromise.
Of course.
Pero ang importante rito, walang na violate na rules.
And for more updates from the Senate, we have mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Hey, Merimon.
Good
Go ahead.
morning, Angela Angelo. So far dito sa Senado ngayon, tahimik, walang plenary session mamayang hapon. Pero around 10:30 a.m. ngayon, inaasahan natin na makakapanayam naman ng media itong si Senator Ping Lacson na tumatayo na ring chairman ng Blue Ribbon Committee. Maaari, mamaya makakarinig na rin tayo ng updates niya kung paano na nga ba tutuloy yung pag-roll out ng investigasyon ng Blue Ribbon Committee tungkol sa anomalya sa flood control projects, maging sa kung ano pa nga ibang mga matter ang dapat pang tugunan ng Senado sa mga issue sa loob at labas nito. Balik sa inyo.
Well, pagdating sa mga committee chairmanship, nakita na natin yung mga pagbabago. Meron pa ba tayong dapat abangan, especially itong mga iba pang naiwan na mga komite na dapat lagyan ng chairman?
Angela, tulad nung pagsisimula ng 20th Congress, inabot din ng 2 weeks, 3 weeks yung pag-finalize nung roster ng committee chairmanships, pati yung vice chairmanship. Ngayon kasi ang naririnig din natin is yung mula pa sa mga majority and yung minority, yun yung ina-expect natin kung ano nga ba yung chairmanships na mapupunta sa kanila. Kasi for example, kay Senator Bongo, yung health na punta kay Senadora Risa. Pero sinabi naman ni Senadora Risa, okay daw sa kanya, open daw siya na makasama si Senator Go bilang vice chairperson. And even from Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, nagkaroon din ng paglilipat to Senator Lauren Legarda sa TechVoc, even ng accounts. So marami pa tayong hihintayin pagdating sa pagsasapinal ng committee chairmanships.
Can you say also, sorry Diego, no? Can you say also, Merimon, itong mga committee chairmanship na mga additional na narinig natin ay more on requests from the senators themselves?
Angela, traditionally speaking kasi, yung majority ang unang may advantage talaga pagdating sa pagpipili or pagkukuha ng preferred committees nila. So maaari ko, sabi naman ni SP Tito Soto nung sila yung first, yung unang caucus nila mula nung siya ang umupo bilang Senate President, lahat naman daw mapag-uusapan. So maaari pagka nakausap natin yung mga senador na, lalong-lalo na from the minority na manunungkulan sa kanilang chairmanship, pwede natin doon kumpirmahin kung upon request ba yun o kung yun na lang ba yung dinesignate sa kanila o kung yun na lang ba yung natitirang ikinalat sa kanila. Angela.
Merimon, speaking of yung kay Bryce Hernandez, no, he's detained right now sa Pasay City Jail. How much longer ba ang magiging detention niya dyan sa Senado? Kasi yung legal custody, I think, is only valid until yung committee of yung Blue Ribbon Committee is in conducting its hearings, I understand.
Yes, Angelo, yan yung aalamin din natin kay Senator Ping Lacson kasi even yung ilang mga senador kahapon sa session, kine-question yung jurisdiction kung even Senator Marcoleta na former chairman or chairperson nitong Blue Ribbon Committee, kung nawala raw ba yung jurisdiction ng Senado, yung naging call nila, yung citing in contempt dito kay ADA Bryce Hernandez. Pero ang inassure naman dyan ni SP Soto, nananatili pa rin naman daw na nasa jurisdiction, nasa pagbabantay ng Senado itong si Hernandez. So, titingnan natin, tatanungin natin yan kay Senator Ping Lacson kasi even ngayon, kinukulit na natin siya pero malamang yung ibang mga detalye, ibubunyag na mamayang 10:30 a.m. onwards.
So clarify ko lang, Merimon, yung next Blue Ribbon Committee is baka possibly mamaya pa malalaman kung kailan ang schedule?
Yes, Angelo, kasi ang last time nung si Senator Marcoleta pa yung nakaupo, ang nasabi niya, tinitignan niya raw kung pwede rin gawin ang pagdinig ng Blue Ribbon Committee every Thursdays and Fridays, ang mga araw na walang plenary session sa Senado. Pero since nagkaroon ng changes sa chairmanship, malalaman din natin yung scheduling ng Blue Ribbon kay Senator Ping Lacson kung ipagpapatuloy ba yung supposed na parang extension time pa na sa araw gagawin na walang session or kung magiging as scheduled siya ng committee. Angelo.
Marymon, ako naman I want to know kung sa susunod na Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing ay magre-recuse itong dalawang senador na nadawit ngayon, na dinadawit sa mga maanumalyang flood control projects, yung mga aligasyon sa kanila, si Senator Joel Villanueva at saka si Senator Jinggoy Estrada. Are they going to recuse themselves from the investigation to avoid conflict of interest dahil meron ng aligasyon sa kanila? We're not saying na yun ay totoo, pero allegation. Or the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee itself will have them, recuse from the hearing?
Angela, ang nasabi ni ni SP Soto, kung sakali munang magkaroon ng pagsasampa ng kaso dito sa mga nasasangkot na mga senador, ipoprocess daw yan agad ng Senate Committee on Ethics. Pero itong dalawang senador mismo, for example, si Senator Joel Villanueva sa kanyang privilege speech, sinabi niya na hindi niya lang categorically dinedenay yung allegation sa kanya, kundi meron daw siyang resibo at willing daw siyang mag-undergo the investigation o mag-participate sa investigation na gagawin para patunayan na hindi raw totoo yun. At siya nga raw mismo, years back, siya na rin daw yung nagko-call out na may mga issue nga raw patungkol sa mga flood control projects at maging korupsyon, lalo-lalo na raw sa kanyang probinsya ng Bulacan. Dito naman kay Senator Jinggoy Estrada, siya rin mismo, sinasabi niya nga, pinigyan diin niya na malaking kasinungalingan daw itong sinasabi ni Hernandez. He is planning to file perjury charges at hindi raw mapapatigil, hindi raw siya mapapatahimik nung ginagamit daw against him yung kanyang naging plunder case kung saan siya raw ay acquitted long time ago sa kanyang magiging partisipasyon dito sa investigasyon ng Blue Ribbon Committee o ng Senado sa anomalya sa flood control project. So far, yun yung alam natin na mula sa kanila and titingnan natin sa next na hearing ng Blue Ribbon kung nandun din ba sila or magiging same ba yung active participation ng dalawang ito.
Marymon, we are set to find out the people na magbubuo ng Truth Commission or Independent Commission na tinatayo nga nila binubuo ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. I was wondering kung ito ay set na ipahayag na sa publiko at magsisimula na yung kanilang investigasyon, ay meron bang discussion sa Senado na possible tapusin na nila yung kanilang investigasyon sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee regarding this?
Angela, nung nakapanayam ng media itong si Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, nung tinanong natin siya kahapon, ito bang independent commission, buo na ba, kompleto na ba, kailan na ba sabi niya, manggagaling daw sa Pangulo yung pinaka-updates dito. At kung sakali man na mag-roll out na itong komisyon, mas maganda rin daw na magpatuloy yung investigation ng pareho ng Senado at saka ng Kamara. Kasi ang kailangan nga raw nila dito, collective effort, kailangan daw nila na yung contributions ng lahat ng sektor sa fact-finding kasabayan ng fact-finding na move at or investigation na gagawin ng komisyon. Angela.
I have one last quick question sa iyo, Marymon, kasi sinasabi daw sa Congress, sa susunod nilang hearing, yung Infracom, meron daw lalabas na mas matibay na ebidensya against Senator Jinggoy Estrada. Ito ba'y napag-uusapan na ngayon dyan sa Senado?
Oo, ang pinaka nasasabi dito ni Senator Jinggoy, simula nung kanyang nagbigkas siya ng kanyang privilege speech, ready naman daw siyang sagutin lahat ng mga ipaparatang sa kanya. Even itong si Beng Ramos na sinabi ni Hernandez na nagpakilalang staff daw ni Senator Jinggoy na inutusan niya raw na kukuha ng pera. Hindi niya naman daw talaga staff to. Hindi niya raw ito staff. Pero naging nobya ito ng isa sa mga staff ni Senator Jinggoy. Pero nag-request na rin siya ng investigasyon dito sa Senado, dito nga kay Beng Ramos. Kasi para raw sa kanya, wala raw siyang ino-authorize na kahit na sino, na kahit na si Beng Ramos daw, na kukuha ng kahit anong pera daw in his name. Angela.
Alright, thank you for that. That was mobile journalist Marymon Reyes. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian says the issue over a supposed 28 billion peso loan from South Korea is embarrassing and could undermine both local and foreign-funded projects. Here's the report.
The Finance Department has denied that a loan from South Korea was suspended due to corruption concerns. The news went viral with Korean publication Han Kyorae reporting that South Korean President Lee Jae-myung hit the brakes on the Philippine loan amounting to 700 billion Korean won or 28.7 billion pesos. In a Facebook post that was translated, Lee said that the loan could have been used for corruption. He adds that since the project has not yet started, funding from the Foreign Economic Cooperation Fund, a program designed to give aid to developing countries, is left untouched. Such a pause is necessary to avoid wastage of taxpayer money, according to the South Korean leader. But the Finance Department issued 2 press releases today denying the existence of the loan. It clarified that the 28 billion pesos meant to go to a rural modular bridge project is currently being proposed for financing by the government of France, not South Korea. South Korea was not considered anymore due to its non-alignment on scope and other key technical specifications, and so the Department of Agrarian Reform halted negotiations last year. But Senate Finance Committee Chairman Sherwin Gatchalian called it embarrassing for the Philippines. Gatchalian warned this could hurt the country's infrastructure development, noting that both locally and foreign-funded projects are heavily relied upon. He stressed the need to restore public and international trust, saying foreign partners will hesitate to lend if funds are lost to corruption. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, however, maintained that the Philippines is, quote, in a stable condition.
Very, very stable. Because, alam mo yan, internal dynamics lang yan. Normal sa atin yan. There were eras or periods in our history that there were more supposedly perceived to be destabilizing. I don't see any threat.
I remember you were asking kanina si yung Marimon about yung Truth Commission, no? Malinaw naman kasi yung mandate ng Truth Commission, they're after personalities. So in other words, yung Blue Ribbon Committee and the
In aid of
Infracom,
legislation.
in aid of legislation, although they will investigate yung mga personalities involved, but hindi recommendation or persecution ang gagawin nila. Rather, to revamp the whole system para to avoid, to see saan nagkamali, to avoid what happens. Pero yung Truth Commission will be the ones to deal with investigating the persons of interest na lalabas sa investigation dito.
Pero syempre yung mga tao nagtatanong din because of course both the house and the lower house and the upper house may mga nalilink na mga officials from them, 'di ba? Sa Congress, yung mga congressman, sa Senado, yung mga Senate. Kaya nagtatanong sila kung 'di ba, paano magiging fair yung magiging investigasyon dito.
Well, kasi main trust naman nitong dalawang committee is the whole event. So, with regards to clearing the names of these people, they could do that all they want, di ba? But at the end of the day, it's the Ombudsman, Sandigan Bayan, and the courts that will decide yung how guilty these are. For example, di ba, sabi ng Blue Ribbon Committee, i-witness protection mga disgaya kasi least guilty. Disgaya. Pero, di ba, yung appreciation ng several people, and no less than the new Senate President and then Congress, and several lawyers are saying, well, they're not the least guilty because they also took a lot of money.
Balik muna daw nila yung pera nila. Pero ako, I wanna go to this issue naman, yung sa supposedly loan natin sa South Korea na tinanggihan nila. Yung konteksto dito, April 2024 pa. Formally, ang Korean government has notified the Philippines na hindi na sila magpo-provide ng financial support to the project bago pa pumutok yung issue ng flood control projects. Pero yun din yung dahilan pa rin nila. Yung dahil sa korupsyon na naririnig nila dito sa Pilipinas. Pero that was April 2024. And they also mentioned na only the firm of former Ilocos Sur Chavez Singson, yung LCS group of companies niya, among the local entities wanting to participate in the modular bridges project. Kaya
pero,
hindi rin
hindi na ako surprised kasi even before this this issue that came out ngayon just simply magnified what is really happening. It's a turning point. But yung corruption in the Philippines, truth be told, in Southeast Asia, we were the third. Isipin mo, most corrupt third in all Southeast Asian nations. We were the third most corrupt country. So doon pa lang, without finding and without this revelation, South Korea already has basis. Wait, I'm not going to give money until you get... Hindi nila sinasabi that the current admin is corrupt. But they're saying, I'm not going to give money if you cannot ensure na yung pera na papautang namin,
ipapautang,
ay safe.
Magagawa yung mga projects
Gagawa mga projects. So,
pero ngayon nga daw, ang kausap ng Pilipinas, moving forward, ay taga-France naman.
Yeah, all the more ngayon, hindi sila magbibigay. Nakita nila,
Well, alam mo naman natin, hindi lang dito ngayon nangyayari yung mga issue sa mga corruption allegations sa mga
Nepal.
bansa, Nepal. Even in France, nagkakagulo sila
France.
ngayon, yung block everything protest nila doon.
Pero ayaw ka mo umabot sa sitwasyon ng Nepal na yung mukha ng asawa ng Prime Minister duguan, yung finance minister na babae
Burned alive.
Burned alive. That's
Asawa.
not the
Resort
civil
to
way
that.
of doing things. We are decent human beings naman. All right.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News.
Now over at the Senate, Senator Panfilo Lacson, the newly installed chairperson of the Blue Ribbon Committee, is now holding a press conference. Let's listen in.
Yun pa rin ang direction, wala mababago. Yun lamang siguro, kung ano yung matutuklasan pang panibago, ihahalo namin yon. Sasama.
At magkakaroon pa ba, Ma'am, part 3, yung inyong privilege speech, sir, o wala na?
Depende. Ganun pa rin ang sagot. Depende. Kung mayroong mga bago, hindi yung uulitin lamang, similar or the same, yung mga flood control na ghost, ano na yun eh. Tapos na tayo doon. Kasi case studies lang naman yung ating ipinakikita. Parang pakita natin, ito ba'y microcosm noong nangyayari sa buong Pilipinas? It seems so, no? Dahil kanina lang, meron nagre-report na yung sa ibang bahagi ng Kapuluan, ganun din, mga ghost projects. Pero yon i-compile na lamang, pero hindi na para ihayag pa sa privilege speech kasi baka maumay na kayo.
Kasi nga ang tanong ng iba, wala ba sa Mindanao, wala ba sa Bicol region, wala ba sa Visayas, na-focus lang daw sa Luzon?
Actually meron, kaya lang hindi na namin sinama kasi repetitive na eh. Ganun din eh. Papakita tayo ng mainis lang kayo kasi butas-butas, substandard, mainis din kayo kasi ghost na naman. So hindi ba nakakaumay yun? Tama na yung nakita natin na talamak yung pag-violate o paggamit ng kabanambayan.
Okay, RG.
To what extent will you pursue yung accountabilities naman ng lawmaker proponents? First on the Senate and secondly in the House. Kasi nga po, yun na lang ang kulang. Alam na natin yung modus, alam na natin yung mga kasabwat doon sa, alleged kasabwat doon sa DPWH, sa contractors. Yung accountability direction is towards na doon sa mga lawmaker proponents. So are you going to, number one, open the records of the BICAM to know who are the proponents? And number two, will you be recommending cases against fellow lawmakers, whether senators or congressmen?
We'll always be guided by evidence. Kilala nyo naman ako, RJ. Kung masagasaan, masagasaan. Walang dapat santoy. Kasi kung meron tayong pagtatakpan, bakit pa tayo nag-iimbestiga? Bakit pa tayo? Although, in aid of legislation, pero meron kaming isi-share namin sa executive branch, whatever pieces of evidence na mag-gather, para magamit, ma-put into good use. And again, yung pupurso namin yung sa WJ, yung lumabas sa pagdinig na allegation ni Bryce Hernandez na di umano, yung WJ magdadala o magdi-deliver ng obligasyon. Pag sinabing obligasyon, ito na nga yung lagay, di ba? So pupurso namin yon, and as we speak, meron kaming video footage ng CCTV footage na dumalaw dito talaga yung WJ. Ang pangalan niya Mina, ipapatawag namin yon. Kasi tatanungin namin, although may idea kami kung saan siya nagpunta rito, kaninong opisina ang dinalaw niya, pero ipapatawag namin para malaman natin kung kanino siya nagpunta, kaninong office, at sino yung kinausap niya, para maliwanag whether or not staff ng Blue Ribbon yung pinuntahan o legislator yung pinuntahan, edi magpaliwanag yung kapwa senador kung siya ay napuntahan. Bakit nagpunta rito yung WJ? And kung idudugtong mo, lawyers call this circumstantial evidence, di ba? Na although kung standalone, wala ka makukonclude. Pero kung may alegasyon na merong mambabatas o merong staff ng Blue Ribbon, staff ng Senado, na sinasabing i-deliver yung obligasyon, pagkatapos napunta pa rito, August 19 yung petsa ng pagdalaw.
This year, sir.
And we found out also, this year, 2025, recently lang. And we also discovered, kasi pinatingnan ko agad, kasi binanggit ni Bryce Hernandez, exact amount, nagbagsak di umano, and I'm saying this is just an allegation, di umano ni Senator Estrada sa Bulacan, doon sa first district man kung saan. So pinacheck ko agad sa General Appropriations Act kung meron bang insertion na nagkakahalaga ng 355 million pesos na intended para sa Bulacan. And we found one. Meron talaga insertion na wala sa House version, pero lumabas ito do sa after BICAM. So maliwanag na either sa Senate version or sa BICAM yon na insert. Now, we would like to find out, kasi alam nyo naman yung kalakaran sa budget deliberation dito. Hindi mo pwedeng matukoy. Ito nga yung lagi kong pinaglalaban na identify natin kung sino yung proponents ng mga amendments. Kasi kung walang record yon, paano matutukoy kung sino yung legislator, congressman man o senador na nag-insert o nag-amend? Walang record eh. Ang record lang dito is a piece of paper, whether toilet paper or yellow pad or yung stationery, minsan doon lang sinusulat. Ang may hawak nito, yung chairperson ng Finance Committee or yung Appropriations Committee chairman. Now, kung merong confirm na merong 355 million pesos na talagang nai-allocate para sa Bulacan. And we went further, meron ng 5 projects identified na na-award na, no? Out of the 355 million. Now, my team or my teams are checking kung ano yung status ng mga at least 5 projects na yon na hindi pa namin alam yung amount. Madali makita yon kasi nasa website naman ng DPWH. At titingnan namin sa ground ano yung status kasi baka pareho noong sa SIMS at saka sa IM na iisang litrato lang yung ginamit na hindi gumagalaw yung 2 tao, no? So, titingnan natin yung kasi kung gano'n ang pattern sa First District Engineering Office ng Bulacan, posible na gano'n din ang ginawa dito kasi hindi pa naman sila nabubuko ng Mayo eh. Di ba? Ngayon lang naglabasan ito. Kung magre-remedyo naman sila, kaya I'm free to announce it to you, hindi nila kayang gawin yung kung halimbawa naghahabol sila. Ay, subukan nila yung 2 days na makasingil sila ng 46%. No? Hindi kaya yon physically. That's a physical impossibility. So maghabol man sila, kaya naming unahan, nga, kung ganun din ang pattern.
Ba ang Senado? And can we ask for a copy?
Not yet. Ako, hindi ko pa rin nakita. It was just reported to me. Bago ikaw, RJ, ako muna.
Pero invited siya sa next hearing, sir.
Papasupin ako yung yung in charge sa CCTV rito. Para siya yung mag-testify na actually on this date, at this time.
Kung saan pumunta.
Ito yung, hindi, makikita naman sa CCTV yun eh. Pero mas mainam na yung formally, i-testify noong mismong operator ng CCTV kung saang opisina, kailangan yun eh. Kasi kung CCTV alone, hindi mo mapagsilita yun eh.
Pero may initial info kayo, sir, kung kaninong office ng
Meron,
senator?
pero hindi validated eh. Kaya mas magandang tingnan na muna.
Sir, will you be inviting
Pinasecure ko na yung footage. It's a good thing that it happened last August 19. Kasi ang lifespan ng footage, 1 buwan eh.
Yes.
Kung inabot tayo halimbawa September 20 ngayon,
Wala
hindi na
na.
natin burado na yon.
Sir, ipapatawag nyo rin po ba yung past chairman ng APRO or ng Finance?
Interparliamentary courtesy.
But yung Finance, at least. Kasi Senado.
Papag-usapan natin si Senator Grace po para ma-identify kung saan or kung sino yung nag-insert ng 355 billion na yun. Kasi establish na natin na either sa Senate version or sa bicameral, sa BICAM, lumabas bigla yung, kasi wala sa NEP, wala rin sa GAB o sa House GAB. Ano? So, ganon.
Okay. In your privileged speeches po kasi you also referred to cases in past budgets that were covered by past leaderships by SP Soto in his first SP and SP Subiri. Papatawag nyo rin po ba yung finance chair nung
Tingnan
panahon
muna natin kung ano yung mag-uugnay bago tayo magpatawag. Kasi papatawag tayo para tayo namamana sa buwan. Which hand ang tawag doon? RG, kailangan maghanap muna tayo ng ebidensya na maliwanag para may basihan tayo para magpatawag. No? Hindi lamang yung ebidensya, kundi yung klarong ebidensya. Ang tawag ko nga doon, resibo. Hindi ako nagre-rely doon sa mga sabi ni barangay chairman, sabi nitong si ganito. Hindi po pwede yun eh. Kasi maski sino pwede magturo eh.
Before Nympha and Daniel, sir, tama ba na ang maging coverage lang ng investigation tungkol sa anomalous flood control project ay from 2022 to 2025?
Hindi. Dapat kasi ang halimbawa yung pagpunta sa casino nitong BGC Boys, nag-start sila 2015 eh.
Ganun.
So matagal na nangyayari ito, no? Pagkatapos yung nasundan namin yung at lalabas ito siguro pagka halimbawang may legal na pamamaraan na yung Anti-Money Laundering Council maglabas ng resulta ng kanilang pag-freeze ng accounts. Kung hindi ko sigurado kung confidential ito, kung classified material yun o hindi. Makikita naman natin doon yung takbo kung saan pinakamaraming transaksyon, halimbawa Diskaya, couple, ano? Kasi as far as I know, meron silang mag-asawa na separate bank accounts. Kung anong period lumobo yon, ibig sabihin, doon sila na mayagpag. No? And makikita natin yon sa susunod na kabanata.
At sir, bilang kayo na ngayong Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman, meron na bang mga lumalapit sa inyo na nag-express ng intention na maging star witness o kaya whistleblower tungkol sa mga iba pang involved dito sa flood control anomalies?
Even before I was elected na chairman ng Blue Ribbon, marami lumalapit after my first privilege speech. No? Yung iba, siyempre, sinasala namin, ano bang motibo nito? In fact, known personalities na nakarating sa office ko, nagpapahayag ng kanilang intensyon na mag-state witness. So, pinapaliwanag ko sa kanila, ang pwede ko lang i-recommenda yung legislative immunity, parliamentary immunity, kasi nakapaload naman yun sa Witness Protection Program, na kung saan, pag naupo ka sa isang pagdinig ng komite, at ikaw ay nagrantan, na-grant ng Senate President, upon the recommendation of the chairman, na covered ka ng legislative immunity, lahat ng sasabihin mo, maski incriminate mo yung sarili mo, hindi pwedeng gamitin sa'yo. Now, yung moving forward, kung magkaroon ng prosecution, wala na yung Senado doon. Ang magdidetermine kung sila ba ay uubrang maging ordinary witness or witnesses or accused to be discharged as a state witness, iba yon, korte na yon. Recommendatory yung prosecution. Pero yung as far as treating them as ordinary witness or witnesses, DOJ yon. Sila magpo-prosecute. Yun ang pinapaliwanag ko pagka may lumalapit sa amin. May lalapit, pero ang aking kondisyon, kailangan tell all, hindi pwedeng tell half or tell one-fourth. Kasi hindi pwedeng selective. Dapat talaga tell all. At malalaman ko naman, winawarningan ko rin, malalaman ko kung kayo nagsasabi ng lahatan at totoo at kung hindi. Kaya yun ang warning ko sa kanila. Apparently, noong sinabi ko yon, para nagbago, hindi na bumalik eh. So sabi ko, tabla tayo.
So that's Senate President Pro Tempore and Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Senator Panfilo Lacson in his kapihan sa Senado with the press.
Press conference regarding... Actually, he's the newly appointed, di ba?
Yeah,
na Senate Blue Ribbon Committee.
And magandang, before we go, magandang sinasabi niyang huli na pag magiging witness ka, kailangan hindi tell half.
Tell
parang,
all.
di ba, tell all ka. Parang may mga pasarin sila lagi no, sa tell half mo. No kaya yun?
Yun. And then, tsaka ang inaabangan ko dyan is authentication of the evidence against the people involved nga in the anomalous flood control project. Kasi ang dali naman talaga mandamay. Diba? Ang dali magpakita ng kung ano-ano. Pero unless it's really authenticated at saka mapapatunayan nga natin na totoo, din malalaman natin. Diba? Alright, now Speaker Martin Romualdez says spokesperson Ace Barbers dismissed rumors of a leadership shakeup, saying the Speaker has no plans to resign and retain strong support from House lawmakers. Here is the report.
Ace Barbers, former Surigao del Norte representative and now spokesperson for House Speaker Martin Romualdez, dismissed rumors of a leadership change in the House of Representatives. He said the Speaker has no plans to resign and stressed there is no reason for him to step down.
Walang plano mag-resign, walang planong pagtatanggal at wala ring plano na magkaroon ng palit ng liderato dito sa mababang kapulungan.
Barbers added that more than 90% of House lawmakers continue to support Romualdez' leadership.
There's no reason for the Speaker to resign or step down. The clamor is not among the members who gave their full trust and confidence in him. Majority of the members of Congress has again thrown their support to him, believing in his leadership. So yung gusto lang na magkaroon ng palitan, yung nasa labas. Sino ba yung nasa labas? Di ba?
The former lawmaker also explained that his appointment as spokesperson has nothing to do with Romualdez being linked to other issues, including the alleged anomalies in flood control projects.
Walang kinalaman ito dito sa mainit na usapin ngayon tungkol sa flood control, no? O sa anumang usapin na mainit. It's just that the Speaker wanted to accommodate all queries coming from our media friends, no? In this case, kasi nga medyo mahigpit o hectic yung schedule ng ating Speaker.
Meanwhile, former NUP member and Cavite 4th District Representative Kiko Barzaga said Romualdez should also be investigated in connection with the matter. He argued that it is unlikely for the Speaker to have no involvement in such a large issue and urged Romualdez to attend the House inquiry.
I believe that if anyone should be investigated, the first person to be investigated is House Speaker Martin Romualdez because he's now Speaker. I have some personal knowledge. I will not be elaborating that yet. I'd like Speaker Romualdez to also be involved in the DPWH hearings.
Barbers noted that the Speaker is open to meeting with Barzaga to clarify any concerns.
So if Congressman Barzaga would like to seek an audience with the Speaker at any given time, the Speaker would be available, no, to give him that time and discuss things or ask clarifications directly from the Speaker.
For News 5, I'm Marian Enriquez. We are One News.
And at this point, let's check the situation over at the House of Representatives. We have mobile journalist Amy Atienza. Amy, what's the latest?
Yes, good morning Angela Diego. Dito nga sa House of Representatives, medyo kalmado na pagkatapos ng isang gabi na talagang tuloy-tuloy ang mga pangyayari. Pero mabalikan nga lang din natin kung ano nga ba yung nangyari kagabi. No? Kagabi kasi nagpakilala na nga si former Congressman Ace Barbers bilang ang spokesperson ng Office of the Speaker na si Martin Romualdez. At yun nga, ngayong araw naman ay inaabangan natin ang iba't ibang organizational meetings pati na din budget briefing kasama ang Commission on Audit. At kung makikita na rin natin kanina, napakinggan natin na ang request talaga ng Commission on Audit pagdating sa budget ay nasa around 16 billion pesos. Pero nang makita nila yung National Expenditure Program ng 2026 ay nasa around 13.88 billion pesos lang daw ang naibigay ng DBM para nga sa ahensya. At yun na nga rin ay talagang iginiit nila na baka nga raw sakali madagdagan pa ang budget ng mga ito dahil marami pa rin silang mga programa and operations na gusto nilang ipagpatuloy. And ang nasabi din kanina, sa 13.88 billion pesos daw kasi na budget ng Commission on Audit na binigay nga ng DBM pati na rin sa NEP, 13 billion daw doon ay mapupunta sa mga sahod or salary ng employees nila. At yung remaining, ayun na lang talaga ang magagamit para nga sa operations ng COA. So nagiging diskusyon pa rin yan ngayon at patuloy pa rin naman na nag-uusap ang House Committee on Appropriations pati na rin ang Commission on Audit para nga masolusyonan yung ganitong issue.
Amy, of course, we would like to know kung ano pa yung mga pangyayari dyan sa Congress. Of course, regarding dun sa issue nga kay House Speaker Martin Romualdez, di ba? Dahil last week pa yan na pinag-uusapan na maaaring magkaroon daw ng change of leadership.
Yes, actually, simula nga nung nagkaroon din ng change of leadership, nung naging usap-usapan sa Senado, ay naging usap-usapan na rin dito sa House of Representatives, no, kung meron nga bang pagbabago ng leadership. Pero kahapon kasi, nung nakausap din ng House media si Congressman Paulo Ortega, nakumpirma niya naman na hindi daw talaga mag-step down si House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Yan din naman na naging pahayag ni spokesperson Ace Barbers na wala nga nga raw kasing rason para mag-step down si Romualdez sa kanyang post bilang House Speaker. Pero yun na nga, dahil nga meron nga ding mga naging salita mula kay Congressman Kiko Barzaga, tinitingnan pa nila at bukas naman daw sila sa conversation itong si House Speaker Martin Romualdez para makipag-usap nga kaya Congressman Kiko Barzaga at kung bakit nabitawan yung mga ganong salita. Pero sure sila dito, no change in leadership dito sa House of Representatives.
Oo, pero syempre expected naman yung mga denial na ganyan. Pero with that denial, meron ba tayong mga naririnig din na possible names na nakikita nila na gusto nilang ipalit just in case no matuloy yan?
Isa sa mga naging usapan dito talaga ay papalitan daw siguro. May possibility na mapalitan ng leadership, lalo na yung maalis si House Speaker Martin Romualdez sa kanyang pwesto kung tatanggapin lang ito ni Majority Leader Sandro Marcos. Pero wala pa rin naman kasi tayong naririnig sa panig ni Majority Leader Sandro Marcos. Kaya ayun, most likely talaga ay totoo pa rin naman yung mga ganitong denials. And syempre, dahil nga marami na rin ang nagsasabi na hindi naman daw talaga aalis si House Speaker Martin Romualdez dahil nga marami pa silang mga plano at ang gusto lang talaga nila dito ay may pagpatuloy kung ano nga ba yung mga goals nila for 20th Congress.
Abangan na lang ang susunod na kabanata. Maraming salamat, mobile journalist Amy Atienza reporting live from the House of Representatives.
Don't go away because we're not done yet. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News.
The country's jobless rate increased in July. Data from the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA shows that unemployment jumped to 5.3% up from 3.7% the previous month. The latest figure translates to 2.59 million Filipinos unemployed. Underemployment also rose to 14.6%, meaning nearly 7 million workers wanted longer hours or additional jobs. Yan ang sinasabi natin. Nakikita ko rin yan na nagkaroon din ng impact din yung ganyan din yung issue sa Nepal. Aside from dun sa of course yung nakita natin na protest ng mga yung Gen Z revolution, yung spark na sinasabi, nag-ignite lang yon because yung deeply rooted anger nila dun sa ganyan din, maganda yung economy, maganda yung numbers, same as us, pero hindi nararamdaman ng mga tao.
In other words, walang trickle-down effect nangyayari.
Yes.
The money or the economy is not impacting the people on the ground. Yan ang sinasabi nila. We should stop boasting of a good economy if it doesn't hit the ground. Kailangan maramdaman physically ng isang tao na I have 3 square meals a day. The money I take home is enough to survive. I don't have to worry until the next payday. Kasi dati, back in the 80s, ang pinoproblema lang natin is yung walang trabaho, in other words, joblessness. Ngayon, there's such a thing also as underemployment. Diba may trabaho ka pero kulang, kailangan ko mag-extra work. So you will see ngayon yung nagiging word of the day, yung influencers, yung mga nagtatrabaho sa corporate job, pag uwi, nagla-live sell sa
may mga business on the side sila.
Because live selling, ang laki ng pera. Although it's not constant, it's not stable, but it
pero
adds.
for others, yun ang main.
No, I'm saying, but wala na kasing opportunity.
Yes.
What I'm saying, yung live selling, it adds to the income that is kulang na nakukuha nila sa corporate job.
Kaya you will see nga other people taking other jobs or kaya yun nga tulad sinabi mo nagbe-business sila dahil ang laki nung binasa natin na underemployment saka 14.6% yung itinaas niya. So ibig sabihin ito underemployed meaning 7 million workers gusto nila ng mas mataas longer hours of work para madagdagan sila kasi per hora or per day, 'di ba? Or additional jobs nga.
In other words, if you translate that to plain English, kailangan namin mas mataas na sahod para maging kontento sa...
Yan ang di ba, constant issue or debate, discussion, kahit sino pa yung nasa administrasyon, di ba? Kasi ang gusto of course ng mga labor groups natin dito magkaroon, especially now, dahil ang tagal na yung legislated wage increase. So, it was what, 1975, if I'm not mistaken.
Kano sa Congress?
Sa Congress, iba-iba yung version nila eh.
Pero yung umibabaw bago nag-adjourn,
350, if I'm not mistaken.
Tapos Senado ata 100?
100.
100.
Oo. Kasi syempre, ang laging nilang pinag-uusapan ng issue dyan is, we cannot just, increase the salary across the board, ganyan, or nationwide, because sabihin nila, yung ibang mga kumpanya maapektuhan. So, baka magkaroon ng mga, anong tawag doon, yung pagbabawas ng mga empleyado para mapunan yung sinasabi nila na pagtaas na sweldo. Pero of course, sa other side of the fence, yung mga labor groups natin that we are trying to get in touch with nga para makausap natin ngayon, sinasabi lang naman ng mga businessman yan diba? Ng mga business groups yan, but for them, kayang-kaya naman daw gawin.
Moderate your greed daw. Okay lang. Kung kumikita ka na at sapat naman ang kinikita ng korporasyon, sinasabi nila, maging kontento na kayo doon. But ang pinaka-issue dito is how to strike a balance that will be both beneficial to those setting up a business so that people would want to set up a business and to those who are working. Hindi rin ka naman pwede kasing we give into one side. If kunyari, give into one side sa workers, mga ibang tao, ayoko na mag-business.
Totoo. And at this point daw, yung sinasabi ng iba na, yung, di ba, yung gusto nila, yung wage increase total, di ba, legislative. Kasi, yung sa ibang lugar, like sa provinces, it doesn't, follow anymore daw na mas mura sa province, kaya kailangan mas mura din yung labor cost doon. So, ibang-iba na daw yung panahon ngayon as compared to before.
Although
yun yung pinaglalaban.
Mas mura generally sa province in terms of local business. Ang problema, you see big malls
coming in to the provinces.
Huwag na natin banggitin yung brand, pero you have several big malls penetrating sa provinces. So yung cost of living, the big malls, they reap the benefits of that. Diba? Nag-adapt sila sa environment na yun.
Yes.
So kaya pinag-uusapan, kailangan talagang we find a way to please everyone, kumbaga. Alright, the Department of Justice has subpoenaed businessman Atong Ang, actress Gretchen Barreto, and former NCRPO Chief Jonel Estomo in connection with the case of the missing Sabongeros. This is part of the preliminary investigation into complaints of multiple murder, kidnapping, and serious illegal detention among other charges. Also subpoenaed were self-proclaimed whistleblower Julie Dondon Patidongan and his brother Elakim. Meanwhile, the DOJ confirmed that Coast Guard divers recovered new human remains from Taal Lake between September 4 and 9. Among these are 2 human skulls.
You can expect an evidence-based investigation and an evidence-based decision from the panel of prosecutors. Wala po tayong kinikilingan dito, kundi yung katotohanan lang po at hustisya. Kaya we just hope that they use this avenue and this channel for their own personal quest for the truth. Wala naman po tayong ibang gusto dito kung hindi lumabas ang katotohanan. Pag hindi po sila nag-file ng isang counter-affidavit, they will be considered in default. Meaning to say po, yung complaint lang po ng mga pamilya ng mga missing Sabongeros ang mako-consider sa preliminary investigation at sa resolution na gagawin ng mga panel of prosecutors.
Now in sports, USA and Japan have arrived in Manila ahead of their campaigns in the 2025 FIVB Men's World Championship. Mobile journalist Arles De Los Santos has the report.
Volleyball fans, are you ready to get electrified? Because in a few days, we are about to witness the best volleyball actions for the Men's World Championship here in the Philippines.
2 more days before the most awaited 2025 FIVB Men's World Championship, volleyball juggernauts USA and Japan have arrived in the country. Decorated setter and Olympian Micah Christensen of USA, the world's number 6 team, cannot help his excitement being back in the country and play in front of the Filipino audience.
It's been a little while for me personally, and so I'm excited to get out there on the court again, and especially in front of these Filipino fans where I know I can speak for all of my teammates when I can say we're all really excited for it.
All right.
I don't think we have too many expectations. I think we're going to go out and play the best volleyball that we can play, and I think that can take us pretty far in the tournament.
Meanwhile, Fans cannot contain their excitement as they wait for the volleyball world number 5 Japan, like Aliana, who traveled from Cavite to Pasay just to see her idols.
Sobrang excited po ako kasi nung nakarang pumunta nila, hindi ko po sila nakita dahil hindi din po ako nakasama. So ngayon, waiting game lang po ngayon.
Japan's new head coach, Laurent Tilly, accepts the 30s challenge and that his squad is ready to battle for every point in every set for a podium finish.
World Championship, everything can happen, you know, so we have to be ready for chaos and be ready for a fight every point, every set.
Other volleyball national teams gunning for the world title also arrived in the country, including Czechia, Netherlands, Bulgaria, Chile, Colombia, Serbia, and Finland, with the competition set to run from September 12 to 28. Mobile Journal Arles de los Santos, we are One News.
Yon, so exciting, di ba? Team Pilipinas, syempre. Alright, that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
And I'm Angelo Castro III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.